Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. I know it's early, but since tomorrow is Easter, we're actually going to be doing lunch with my family. So I wasn't going to be able to do my video at my normal time, and since I'm done with my homework for Magical Stitches, and since I'm now currently waiting for the next part of the Owl Forest Embroidery Wizard of Oz to release, which should be shortly, I thought I'll go ahead and just do my video, and then it'll be taken care of. If you're wondering, my nails are pink and blue. We did, April is Community Banking Month, and as a community bank, we always participate. And each week we do a different theme, which, since I'm at the corporate location, each week a different department picks the theme. So we did the 1980s, and I went as Boy George. But I wanted to show off my nails. So, it was a lot of fun. It took 45 minutes to get into my makeup yesterday morning. I wore heels all day. And I personally believe now that if men were required to spend a week putting on makeup, wearing heels, and living and working like that, then maybe we wouldn't put so many stupid beauty expectations on women. Because, dear God, was that a lot of work. Wow. So, props to all women out there. If you never want to wear makeup or heels again, I don't blame you a bit. Alright, so we'll dive into the Q&A. There's no haul this week, but there's a lot of whips to show. They have not announced the homework for next week. So you're just going to have to bear with we're going to work on the Oz one, which I left in the living room, but that's okay, because whatever. But we'll at least do the Q&A and my whip updates. So, how was everybody's week? That's good to hear. Alright, so, first off, Lynette L., I'm glad you enjoyed Stitch Niche. It's awesome. I love that store. Amy Kilburn, thank you. I'm glad you are getting inspiration and that you enjoy the videos. Let's see. I'm glad for the people who were able to use some help, use my explanations to help them in Magical Stitches. I actually revised some. Because of course I did. It was a bit of a work in progress as the week went, and I've got my final version of my stories, so I'll go over them as I go through this. Laura Jacinis asks, having seen the live feed of McKenna's retreat, would you want to go? Whose retreat would be your dream retreat? Would you ever want to throw one? Okay, so answer the first question, hells yeah, I would have gone. It just was not... It was too far to drive, and we couldn't afford the airfare. So, otherwise I would have been there with bells and whistles on. Whose retreat would be your dream retreat? Well, my dream retreat so far has still been the one that Julicious did, the Flosstube retreat in 2017, which I think was the first big sort of event of its type. But it was a blast. Absolute blast. Would I ever want to throw one? No. Will I help put one together? Sure. Will I do anything I can to help whoever is putting it together? Sure. Do I want to be the one doing it? No. Too much stress. But I do enjoy them. Camping Stitcher asks, for storing floss, what is this pegboard thing you speak of? The pegboard thing is literally where you take the pegboard and you put like nails or dowel rods or something in, and you loop it off of that, or you hang the bobbin off of that. Like you would like in a garage shop with your tools. But that really requires a lot of space and a permanent location, or a semi-permanent location, not an apartment. Patricia Kazmarek asks a good question. You mentioned you were off on your fairy dress, and I'm wondering if you have a standard for when you will fudge in a piece versus frocking stitches. I don't have an official, like, hardcore, this is how I always do it. I sort of based off a couple of factors. The first, how far was I when I caught it? If I'm only a couple of stitches, or it's a reasonable amount that I can take out, I'll take it out and go back. If it's a couple of stitches off, but it's not going to matter, sometimes I'll leave it. If I didn't catch it, and I can leave it without having to frog, I will. If I didn't catch it, frogging it is going to be a nightmare, then it becomes a UFO. Because ain't nobody got time for that. So it really, and it really just depends on that. A lot of the time, I'll just fudge best I can. Probably do that more than I actually frog. Deborah Rodriguez, my name's not Justin, but that's okay. I've never done anything by Hawk Run Hollow. I've seen several. I like the look of them, but they're a little more, they're not that they're a little more involved than what I would like to do, because that's not true. They tend to have too many big blocks of color, and I don't do big blocks of color well. I get bored with it. So that's why I don't tend to do ones like that. Linda Kleindinst, you sort of heard correctly. I'm still in charge at Mania. I'm just not going to participate in Stitch Mania, the official one, in May. I've got enough new starts that I've done with Magical Stitches that I don't really feel a need to do it, and I think that fits my style a little better. Because usually I end up feeling very overwhelmed during Mania, so. No, hang on, I've got to shift. I really hate that you have to click on Show More for it to actually do. There we go. All right. Oh, well, that was the end of it. All right, well, I'm sorry I made you go through that. All right, so without further ado, we'll get into the whips. So first, I'll show you what I worked on Sunday and Monday, since they weren't really homework assignments. I finished out the tornado and the house and the heart in Quaker Oz. So there we go. So that's what it looks like in full. So the next time I work on this, it'll be a page. Well, I say that. Obviously, I'll work on it for homework. Hopefully, it'll be a page finish the next time. And then I finished up the second bunting on Sister Suffragette. So we've got 2 of the 3 buntings. So next time I'll either work on the dove or another bunting. Or possibly words, depending on what Magical Stitches needs. And then here I am on Woodland Fairy. So I started filling in the dark part. So I've got this area to fill in, and then I've just got these spots. I'm not on vacation this coming week. I'm off the week after that. So with any luck, we'll finish what I don't get done on tomorrow. We'll get done the following Monday. Exciting. Yeah, I'd really like to finish the dress. Okay, so now we'll dive in to the homework. So the first thing I did was, and I call it Now You're in the World, it's actually called Wonderful Life, but it's by Heart and Hand. So we had to do 100 stitches on each project. So, there's what I did. It was the start of that tree and the tent. It's supposed to be a teepee, but I took out the parts that made it look like a teepee. So this is for Dervish and Banges, the wizarding equipment. And I went there because we're going to be going to the Quidditch World Cup, and I needed what I thought would just be camping supplies. But I went with my boyfriend, Cedric Diggory, of course, and got a wizarding tent because, awesome, it had everything I needed. So that's pretty awesome. Wizarding tents, like, seriously, yo, if... One of mine's lost a needle. Like, for realsies, if wizarding tents existed, I would be so much more likely to go camping. Because that would just be ideal. I'm not really the outdoorsy type. Which I'm sure shocks and appalls every single one of you. There we go. Let's put that one on. So, there we go. Okay, come on. So that was shop number 1. Shop number 2 was a trip to Glad Rags, because I needed some dragon high boots. And while I was there, they had this cool dress that changed from pink to blue on command. And while, of course, I wouldn't wear it because I don't have the tits for it, it was still really cool to see. And see, you've got the blue and the pink. And the pink and the blue. Hey, look at that. I just tied that in. Look at me go. All right. So, after that, we decided to have lunch at the Hogshead. Because we're both big fans of shepherd's pie. So I did With the Needle from Lila's studio, and there's a cow there. And you use beef to make shepherd's pie. Or at least I do. I think everybody else does too, but I do. I actually make a cheeseburger shepherd's pie. It's pretty darn tasty. Anyhow, so this actually got used for 2 projects. So 100 Stitches here. It was also used for 3 broomsticks, because the fabric is called Rose Merta. This is Rose Merta from Under the Sea Fabrics. It's one of her regular line. So I did 200 stitches on this one, 100 for the Hogshead, and then 100 for 3 broomsticks, and tied it in because Rose Merta is the name of the fabric, and it's just as pretty as Rose Merta, the owner, is. No, I know, so sweet of me. And I discovered when I was getting ready to start, I went to make sure there weren't any corrections in the charts, that it was actually originally designed where all 3 of the vignettes were connected, but you could do them individually if you so chose. And so I'm going to do mine connected, which will eliminate some of the need for extra border work that I don't always enjoy doing. So, and we stopped in for butterbeer there, but I'll tell you that story when we get, because there's a whole flow to the story. So just remember, I did Hogshead for that, and 3 broomsticks. After that, we went by the Hogsmeade station and looked out over the Black Lake, and it was such a bright and clear day, I swear you could almost see the mermaids. And I did Mermaid Life from Tiny Modernist. So there's my 100 stitches. Boop. So after that, we stopped in Honeydukes, and Cedric very kindly, sweetly, I should say, treated me to a vanilla cupcake with strawberry frosting and a peppermint frog garnish, which can be found at the Wizarding World Honeydukes, because I love strawberries, and it was super sweet. In fact, I actually think the cupcake may have been a little sweeter than he did. So I did Strawberry Fields Forever from Blackbird Designs. It was a new start. I'm doing it on Winterbrook from Under the Sea Fabrics. And my new winder is Grover, because Grover's awesome. I also used this for the second part, which was Madame Puttyfoot's. Because we neither of us really are into the big gushy thing like Madame Puttyfoot's has, but we felt like we should at least do it once to say that we did it. And since I really like strawberry tea, and they have it there, Strawberry Fields Forever got used again. So 200 stitches, 100 for Honeyduke, and 100 for Madame Puttyfoot's. So then we went to Skivenshaft's Quill Shop. And for that one, I worked on Longfellow's Round Tower. They're the quill shop, and I'm currently working on some calligraphy stuff. And dear God, I run through my quills like nobody's business. I'm constantly losing them. Like, Neville holds on to his toad better than I can hold on to a quill. So 100 stitches, which, and I did a little more than 100, took care of a page finish minus the specialty stitches. So there we go. Right. Then I love haunted houses, and I'm a Gryffindor, so I've got to be brave, even though I'm obviously a Hufflepuff. So I dragged him up to the Shrieking Shack, because I'm obsessed with haunted houses. So I worked on Nevermore from Prairie Schooler, did 100 stitches, which finished out the center house, a little bit more than that actually, but finished out the center part of the house. That's old purple paint from Gast. But because he was still kind of scared, we stopped by and got a butterbeer from Rosemerita. That's how it tied that one in to how we tied that in story-wise to the Three Broomsticks. And after that, we actually decided to head over to Zonko's, ran into the good old Weasley twins, who convinced me to buy this pumpkin face box thing that'll turn my face into a pumpkin. I don't know when I'm ever going to need to use that as a joke, but I bought it anyways. So I used Great Cheshire Moon from Tempting Tangles, because see, pumpkin face. And there's also jack-o'-lanterns on the bottom, but there's a big pumpkin face there too. And I finished out the tree! Yay! Which I think also may have been more than 100 stitches, but whatevs, I'm not too worried. So, that was my Magical Stitches homework. Big shout out to the one and only Stash Queen for helping me figure some of this out. Yes, I know, I've created a character now in Magical Stitches for myself. So I know I'm setting myself up for problems in Goblet of Fire with who I've decided my character is dating. But I may just decide we're not going to deal with that. We'll figure something else out. Or we'll figure it out when we get there. So, we'll see. Alright, so that's kind of it. I hope that everyone has a good week. Can't wait to see part 2 of Oz. And I'll see y'all next week. And happy Easter, or Hoppy Easter, for those of us who celebrate. For those of you who don't, happy Sunday. Have a great week. And I'll see y'all next time.